what do you think about our philosophy on chores and zones and distributing work in our house?
I think that it's constantly evolving. I think we're at a place where we're like, okay, this works, it's awesome. And then within 6 months or a year, we realize, okay, this aspect of it isn't working. So, we're flexible. We keep progressing with it, but I think it's something that works for us.
Sure. What do you think have been some of the challenges you faced with getting your kids to work, besides obvious, like being lazy?
I would just say distractions.
Sure.
We have a lot of people that potentially are a distraction for anyone. So it's really like them getting started with something and then just immediately getting distracted, or getting distracted before they finish. So then it has to be a follow-up conversation because they didn't actually finish what they were supposed to do. So distraction has been, I think, the number one difficulty.
So I think that one of the things that is a benefit is definitely having teenagers to help out, but that doesn't always mean it's less work for us. And I feel like sometimes that's kind of like the misconception. Oh, you have like more kids to help you, And yes, they are great, and we're so grateful for babysitters and kids that are able to help with little kids. But we still have to parent the older kids too and manage them, and we're still parenting our little kids for sure.
And part of that comes down to, we are then, instead of the teenagers being a help to help manage the younger kids, it becomes our time to teach our teenagers how to lead.
Sure.
Because they do that like anyone naturally would do that, selfishly or with frustration or whatever it is. So the same energy you might put forth in having the little ones help clean, you're now putting in correcting or helping your teenager correctly give direction to the younger ones. So
Sure.
It's not necessarily easier.
Definitely. Okay, so what do you think about the philosophy of paying your kids to do housework or even babysitting?
It's an interesting one, because I want my kids to learn that with hard work and effort comes reward. For us, the reality is we would have to be incredibly wealthy to pay a wage to our kids to do things that they need to do. And then there are certain things that are just part of life that they need to understand that it's still hard work that they may never get a reward for, other than the fact that their clothes are clean and the dishes are done, and not they don't have rats in their apartment when they move out.
That's your reward.
That's your reward. No
rats.
Which is a really great reward.
Yeah.
But we do need help that's over and above sometimes. And I think for us, one of those things is babysitting. There are things sometimes that we have to accomplish together that don't take a whole lot of time, and we could be able to do like our Bible study, or where we need the help of the older kids to watch the younger kids. But that's a pretty hefty expectation to just always thrust on them, especially when sometimes it can happen several times in a week. So I think we've tried to be creative in the ways where they might want to actually help us with that without paying them money.
Yeah, so tell them about our newest venture of reward system, I suppose.
So when the kids were somewhat younger, having them do kind of extra things, we could toss out different smaller incentives that they really were pumped about, like staying up late, or being able to get something at the dollar store, or a hangout time with dad. And as they've gotten older, those things have less appeal. And yet, again, we're still not wanting to just throw a bunch of money at it. So what we have done recently is, with childcare specifically, is we've told the kids essentially that if they put in 2 hours of babysitting in a week's time, and then they do that for a month straight, that at the end of each month, anyone who's done 2 hours a week will be in the pool for a larger kind of reward event. So that might be something that we can be creative, or buy in bulk, or plan a trip, or something that might not cost a lot of money, but might be really cool for them to do. So we just did that recently with a big movie outing, and it was a huge success. So the cool thing is, now we have the kids kind of fighting over who's going to watch the younger kids any given time, because they want to get their 2 hours of babysitting in for the week. And even if we don't have something that we need to do, we might even have the kids asking us to go and do something, so they have an opportunity to watch the kids. So that's been a unique, interesting change. So we just want to be creative with the rewards that we plan for them to be exciting and fun.
One of the questions I often get is, how do you discipline for chores? Getting your kids to be motivated, or, do you take away privileges, things like that?
I think that's a tough question, because it depends on each child. I think what we found is there's certain forms of discipline or consequence for the kids not doing what they're responsible for. And I would say the biggest point to that is be consistent. Like, you can't sometimes they get away with it and not have any form of consequence for not taking care of their responsibilities, and then other times hold them accountable to it. So consistency is number one. And then two, be creative and know your child. So for some of our kids, that's losing electronic privileges. For other kids, it might be that they have to go to bed early and they love staying up later. Or some, it might be like, hey, you're not going to be able to come with us on this outing, and they just love to get out of the house. And I mean, we've done all kinds of things. Sometimes it's physical activity. So it's like, all right, this is what led you to not take care of this responsibility, and it was like slothfulness. So we're going to get you up and you're going to be super active, and so you're going to, run some laps and do some calisthenics or something. So I don't know. I'd say be creative. It's a time to kind of know your child and let them know, like, this is what you were responsible for. You knew you were responsible for it. So this is just the consequence for your action, and you're going to have that your entire life. So, explaining what those things are, and then being creative per kid. But I don't think that there's one way to do it.
Well, do you have any last kind of advice or wisdom?
I'd say understanding as a parent that love can be a very different thing depending on the need. And that's something we've been running into with friends and situations. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do might be difficult for you as a parent to do. It might be, there was a time, for instance, where we had planned kind of this big event for Isaiah, and he was super excited about it, and like his friend was going to come over, and then he blatantly didn't take care of his things and did stuff he knew he wasn't supposed to. And the toughest thing for me in being excited for Isaiah and loving Isaiah was still holding him accountable to his actions and allowing him to miss out on this thing that I wanted him to be a part of. I still wanted him to be able to do those things because I like for him to do things that make him joyful. But I think love in that moment was knowing that him learning self-discipline and responsibility and the importance of doing what he knows is right was more important than that event. And so in that scenario, my love for him was allowing him to deal with the consequences of his actions and wanting him to learn a lesson that would affect his entire life. And that's not always the most popular thing to do. You're not going to feel like mom or dad of the year when you make those decisions. And they certainly aren't going to like you for them. But those are the type of the decisions that I think have lasting effects on their lives and is truly the way that you show them that you love them. And they may not realize it now, or, you know, hopefully when they're 30 and they're talking with their kids, they realize why. But love can look very different. All right, guys. What are we doing?
We're getting candy to sneak into the movie.
Candy to sneak into the movie. And what movie?
Wow.
Shazam. Best movie.
Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
I like his best movie. We haven't even watched it yet.
So, you guys want to share why we're watching Shazam?
We watched it.
As a reward for watching the show for 2 hours every week of the month, last month. So that's what
You guys did good work.
I get to go because I'm crossed the Ninja Slack line.
The Ninja Slack line. We'll have to show what that is later. But you guys did excellent. So let's enjoy ourselves. All right, so we just got out of the movies. Shazam.
Shazam.
What do you guys think?
I liked it
Thoughts?
a lot. Yeah. Very funny.
Yeah? Entertaining?
Very.
Noah, can you get back here? We can't see you, bud. What do you think? What do you think? I like Zachary Levi. I think he's a good, likable superhero. I think DC can chalk this one up to a win. They don't have a lot of those in their repertoire.
Hey guys, go to familyrts.com and subscribe to our emails, and you can get a free downloadable responsibility chart. Also, like and subscribe. Thanks.